we're not just going to do a single Windows platform, but we're not going to go beyond that yet. I think after that, if things go pretty well, we'll start considering the second tier, whether it's going to be console or mobile, I guess. So we get a lot of people asking for mobile, and now, of course, everyone wants us to go Switch. You know, I mean, come on.
Okay.
Maybe. I personally only have a PS4, so that would be probably where I would go, but you know, we'll have to take a look at each console individually and like what the work would be to actually bring the game to that console, and also which.
Okay. So what we're gonna do is we'll have some questions that will pop up. Hopefully our actual connection will be a little bit better. I switched that back to the Momo Media because we know that one stayed okay.
That one stayed okay.
Because apparently we were dropping on and off for Momo Indie, and I imagine that part of the reason for that is all of these people are using Momo Indie. So
yeah.
Okay.
And everyone's getting set up now.
Oh yeah.
So what we're gonna do real quick, or what I'm gonna do real quick, and this is gonna be
Mal says seems better now.
Seems better, yeah.
Okay.
What we're gonna do real quick is I already went through the tutorial yesterday, but I'm gonna redo that, or maybe one of your guys is gonna do that. Yeah, he can, I can, we all can. I guess he will. That's fine. Were you gonna play? No.
Oh no.
Go for it.
Go for it. So, are you getting a decent, like, actual? Sound is a bit desynced, but not bad. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll deal with that as best we can now. So it's top-down, turn-based tactical. Now, what we were talking about before we actually started doing the recording or any of that was, you said it changed.
Yeah.
What type of game it was from like initial inception to now?
The original plan for the game was to do kind of a retro RPG, you know, something more like one of the old school RPGs, but then throw in like XCOM style combat system to that.
Right.
And we actually had the prototype built for it, but it just seemed like it just wasn't working that well, or I don't know, there were several different problems, and so we kind of did a pivot. We were doing 2 conventions in October of last year, and so around like August, we're like, wait, this is just not working that well. So I did a quick pivot, and we did like this arena mode that was more procedural generation, and we made it more like a roguelike game.
Yeah.
So, and it seemed to connect. It like really kind of took off, and we really connected, I think, with the people at the cons, and we were not sure how this game was going to do. And then we released the demo in October, and it got pretty popular on itch and Angel. I mean, it was like 5,000 downloads, something like that. So, you know, reasonably popular game. But
Make sure you get some.
Good.
So I know. See, this is the tutorial mode, so we're kind of seeing how we walk the first like playthrough.
One of the things that I know you and I talked about yesterday was the idea of integrating like Twitch interactivity or Twitch chat interaction into the game, and like we had kind of thrown around, or just as an off-the-cuff conversation, threw around the idea of like better loot, or
or like voting on the loot. Yeah, I like that idea. Or like chat determines which type of enemy gets spawned or something like that. It seems like there's a lot of options here, especially after you were kind of explaining a little bit about how it works to me.
Yeah,
it's pretty awesome.
So I really feel like that's one of the directions that a lot of games are going to start going is having more of that Twitch interactivity, or at least that extra interactivity, because of how popular things like streaming have become.
Yeah, definitely
over time, and the fact that it's like I said to you yesterday, you know, if a game says that it's got Twitch interactivity, that instantly makes me more interested in looking at that game.
Yeah, sure, of course, because there's something cool that you can do with it on your stream, and have fun with your viewers. I get that. I think you're seeing a lot more people do it. I know the first game that I really heard of that did it in a first access like what you're doing is Overland. I don't know if you played that one yet.
I have not.
It's another turn-based tactics game, and they did some of this kind of stuff. I'm going to go read up on exactly what they did and kind of maybe see if I can borrow some ideas from their devs.
That's fair.
And then we'll take a look and see.
Now I know like the green within the spaces, and then you have your little shields that tell you how much
cover, yeah,
you're getting covered and stuff like that. And I kind of sort of figured this one out yesterday, but when you get into those yellow spaces, I take it that takes up 2 of your moves.
Yeah, so the yellow dots on top of the player and on their icon indicate how many actions they can do in a turn. And yeah, the green it would only use 1 action, which would still allow you to like fire or defend or reload your weapon or something. And then if you want to move further, you would use both. And then, but firing actually will just end your turn. So that's it. You fire even if you have 2 actions. Now there is a skill that you can learn by leveling up that will allow you to fire on both actions, or do things like reload without using an action, or so we have a lot of this kind of thing.
I know that I saw one of the skills that one of the characters had was run and gun, where you could do like you could move 2 moves and then still get to shoot.
Fire, yeah. So we actually start you out in the intro with a powered up team, so you can kind of get an idea of what the skills are like that you can use, and but then you'll see what happens to this team. Unfortunately, things don't really go as planned.
They very rarely do, and I know with like a lot of games will do that with the intro level. Will give you like this Uber team, and then your Uber team gets wiped, and you have to take a brand new team from level 0 to Uber as quickly and efficiently as you can. So okay, so I know Mal is here. What anybody have any particular burning questions? I know, right, I can see that it's Mal in there, but I don't know who else.
Well, there's a few viewers in there.
Yeah.
Up, Andy.
Hi, Andy. Much better. Okay. Awesome.
Elusive.
They're trying to run away.
Sorry, ducked out. No worries. Did you have any burning questions that you wanted to ask these guys about their game in general? We talked a little bit about the possibility of Twitch interactivity. We talked about adding that as
he's getting eaten up right now. Look at all that blood.
Oh my gosh. We got minions in here.
Of course we do.
Sorry.
Blew the head off that guy. Oh, since you fired in less than 2 squares, you get.
So Mal says I'm not that much of an 8-bit guy, but it looks good.
Yeah. So see, this guy also has a skill where if you're less than 2 squares away and you kill someone, you get another move. So we've got a lot of different things that you can level up.
Okay. So we have a viewer asking, when is it going to be out?
October will be the full release, but we're actually releasing a first access. Like right now, you can go get it on itch.io, and there's only 100 copies available though, so it'll be like $10. And when we go live on Steam, it'll probably be 20. But if you buy it on itch now, you'll actually get the Steam key when it comes out. So.
I expected that answer as soon as I mentioned Twitch interactivity. Mal said Twitch interactivity could be interesting because we need a new game we can screw Sippy over in. Fan favorite being Cluster Truck, which was just.
So should I actually have an option to not give Sippy any loot?
Yeah, well, so like some of the more fun options that I've seen in with Twitch interactivity is like 2 of the 3 options that you can vote on are just absolute trolly bullshit. And then the third option is something that might be helpful. and you'll get about 75% of the time people will troll you. That other 25, that other 25 people will be like, okay, well, we've been fucking with him for like an hour now, and I think Sippy's about to have an aneurysm, so we'll give you the health or the high gravity so that you can like actually make further jumps.
I had considered the trolling option.
Yeah, Immortal Redneck is being another one that's a newer one, and I know that my buddy Dom, he was playing that with his Twitch interactivity. So I honestly don't know how well that works. I think it was like it gave you a scroll which acted as a temporary power up, but as soon as the scroll was over, voting for the chat started to get really spammy, and that's like there's got to be that balance. Like if you're going to add it in, space it out enough so it's not like people
like
are
constantly.
People are voting on a thing, and as soon as their thing is like voted on, there's another thing going. It's too much.
That's good input too. I like that. We'll definitely be thinking about some interesting ways we can utilize Twitch to do fun stuff. We want to make the game more fun. I mean, that's the goal, and more roguelike and difficult. That's also the other thing I'm thinking about.
Improving the power according to people voting.
Oh, that's a good idea. So when you take a shot, maybe I could change the damage, let people vote on how much damage it does.
Oh, okay. You had your finger like right here.
Oh.
For a while.
Finger block.
She was like covering up half the screen, so while she's looking at me, it's like this. But this is a finger, just kind of like poking me.
That could be like a theme for your Twitch.
Right.
Or half finger.
So power up, power down. So moving away from like the Twitch interactivity thing, because that's kind of like that's very much idea and not applied yet.
Yeah.
I imagine with you wanting to have something out like by October, that might be something that might be better patched in later as opposed to initial release.
We have a question from Elusive.
Is this your first game?
No, I actually have another game out that's a mobile game. So it's in the App Store. It's called Cubicle Run. So it's a runner. I actually started, when I first started making games, I started maybe like 5 years ago. I made another game that I put out, but it was a multiplayer like word game, and I ended up pulling it down because I didn't have time to do it. I was still working a full-time job and had a wife, and it sort of takes up a lot of your time. And so like 3 years ago, I decided I had the opportunity to leave my job and start doing games full-time, and so I started working on a bunch of prototypes, and I made like 7 different games, and basically I combined 2 of the prototypes into what we have now and made Depth of Extinction out of them. But then I had another one that was kind of an infinite runner game where you're in the office, and if you hate your job and you want to attack your boss, this is basically what Cubicle Run allows you to do. So you can like shoot rubber bands at your boss's head, and as you run through the office, you have to knock out bosses and people that are coming up trying to give you work to do and things like that. So it's a pretty simple game, but there's a lot of, we still get downloads every now and then. We have like probably 4 or 5 a week, even though we don't do any promotion for it or anything. In fact, I never really promoted it that well, but we kind of immediately shifted gears into Depth of Extinction. So we launched that game in October of 2015, and then Depth of Extinction we really got started on heavily in like January. We did a few more patches on Cubicle Run, and then so January 2016 I really started working on this game. We hired an artist in April of 2016, and kind of started working on all the pixel art, because the prototype just had like stand-in art.
Right.
You don't generally do a prototype with like the final art. At least I like to see what the game's going to be before I decide.
Like how your actual characters will figure out the mechanics before you figure out how they're painted.
Well, and not just that, but I mean, I'm spending money on the art, so I don't want to make art that I don't need.
Right.
You know, so you really want to, like, I mean, that would be my advice to most indie devs. Make a game, then make the art. Don't start with making art. I mean, I guess some people do it and it works for them, but in most cases, it's probably not the best approach. Unless you're like only an artist.
Yeah.
This maybe you can do it now.
And then,
Question from Mal.
yeah, I saw. So another question that we got for you is, are the characters customizable in appearance?
Well, right now they're totally random. In the demo, they were completely customizable. I think we're going to add in some more screens to actually let you change, like tattoos and haircut and hair color and maybe some other things. But right now you can only customize the armor and the weapons.
Well, with kind of with the bit art as opposed to being like more defined art, are you really going to be able to see that stuff, or is it just going to kind of be like there's a blur there, a black blur there, as opposed to just being a tan blur?
I mean, some of it you can see. We've got like 8 different tattoo configurations so that they're somewhat visible.
Okay.
Because yeah, you're right. It wouldn't be that visible otherwise. But we have stuff like if you have an Android character, you can customize the light color, so they have lights on their bodies. You can kind of see it in the poster over there. See how so some of the good guys can't actually be androids.
Okay.
So you're fighting against. So you can actually recruit an android to be on your team.
Let's see, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And there's actually like 5 or 6 customization options. The androids have different heads, they have different chests, they have different light colors.
Okay.
So I think some of it, yeah, we're trying to focus on things that you actually would be able to see.
Yeah.
As opposed to things that you're tiny. So yeah.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
Huh?
So we got another question from Elusive. Any regrets and what has been the most challenge, and any advice for any new game dev?
Yeah, that's
like a bunch of questions.
That's a lot of questions, but I mean those are all kind of related questions. I think.
Okay.
I think regrets. No, not really. I mean, I wish we had figured out what the game was earlier, but sometimes you just can't do that. The game needs to evolve as it evolves. You know, I mean, you have to let the game. You have to find the things that are working in your game and continue to work on those things and make them better, and eliminate things that aren't working. I mean, so you have to be kind of cold-hearted and willing to cut things that you spent time on if they're not going to make the game better. So, believe me, I spent a lot of time on features that are not even in the game anymore. So.
Well, then I think that might be one of the tougher parts of it, because this is going to be a labor of love for you.
Yeah.
And like a lot of you guys, if you're thinking about going into like indie dev, oh my God, you were right, there are minions. Holy shit.
Yes.
Oh, that's a minion.
Like several of them.
Oh. All right, I gotta go
like
get a picture with
minions.
my niece is a huge Minions fan.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I will later. No.
Oh. This.
Well,
No, I'm out of here, guys. I'm outie. No,
yeah, with like game development as an indie dev as opposed to being, with one of those AAA groups, you're not like shining on his crotch, are you?
No. I'm not. It's full face.
Okay.
Like
full frontal.
yeah, I think that the big difference between AAA and indie is AAA you can focus in on one aspect of the game, whereas indie you have to do everything. So like I am doing all kinds of stuff,
Well, and it's like we went briefly to a panel yesterday, and like I kind of agree with one of the things that they said, was it really boils down to love or money. Like,
oh, that's a good question.
Like if you're working with a AAA game, your game is not going to be your game by the end of it.
Yeah.
Like, but you're going to have an immense amount of money that you can like get sunk into it.
Maybe.
But if you're doing it for you, then you're doing it out of love, and you might be kind of broke. So
Well,
We've
it's
got a few
definitely you have to keep expectations low as far as what might happen with the game. I mean, I want to put out the game that I like and that I would like to play, and that but I want to be willing to make it something that other people want to play too, you know. So
Okay, so I missed that question.
more questions.
Procedural generation. That's going to be in the early access.
It's
build.
in there now, yeah.
And then
So all the levels are procedural.
and then the XCOM Legendary miss at 60% and above.
Ah, yes.
Will that be in the game?
All right, so I love this question. That's an awesome question because one of the things that pissed me off so bad about XCOM was you get right up on a guy, you have a 90% chance to hit, and you miss. I mean, these are professional soldiers.
Yep.
Professional soldiers are not
true.
missing at point blank range. I'm sorry. So in this game, actually, there is. So we have every weapon has a range, and if that range value is 100% to hit. Outside of that range value is where we have like the lower chance.
So
to
it
hit.
starts to degrade
Yeah. Now,
it kind of
cover-
actually would because
Yeah.
I can aim from here to here and just be fine. But if I'm aiming from here to like the
Other side of the
lightsaber
room,
dude
yeah.
over by the war games, I might have a little bit more difficulty hitting it.
Exactly. Now cover is an element in the game, so I'm talking about like flanked. If you flank somebody and it says 100%, you have 100%. But I did add one thing in. There is a dodge chance. So we do a dodge roll. It's low. The enemies mostly don't have much of a dodge chance, but your character can work up. You can actually upgrade, like reaction is one of the skills, and that allows you to do better at dodging stuff. So wanted to add in a little bit of an option to get out of a hit, but not much.
Right,
Oh, yeah.
right. Kind of make it a little bit
And it's not
fair,
actually,
but not like
it's
easy.
weighted. It is a random number generator that does everything, but it's actually weighted. So the rolls are best of 5. So it actually will do 5 rolls, and you have to win 3 in order to get a hit. What happened? You get trolled? Did you get trolled?
You'd probably hit yourself in the foot if I tried to shoot the dev. At least you guys have ways to counter the legendary miss at 60 and above. Good job. And how many classes and weapons in the new build?
Classes, we have 5 in the build. We have one that we pulled out last minute, and then we have like 4 more that we're working on and trying to come up with skill options and things like that for them. And then weapons, we have 7 weapon types, and then 4 variations on each weapon, so 28 weapons. There's only actually 14 of them in the build currently.
Right.
So we have 14 more that we're working on, and they have totally different effects. They're actually plasma weapons, and the artist was sending me some of the like gifs of the effects. I haven't posted them yet, but they look amazing. We're going to be doing a lot more posts here on this stuff like in the next few weeks, but they're really cool. I can't wait to share them.
So, where do you do the majority of your posting on your Twitter? Because I know you said you have multiple Twitters.
Yeah, I have a Twitter for the game and I have a Twitter for the studio, but I mostly tweet on the game. I'll mix it up sometimes because I do want to post some stuff on the studio, but studio is more about like when we make appearances and stuff like that, so like studio news, but the game Twitter will be more about the game. And also we have a Facebook for the game. We have an Instagram just for the studio, so the game Twitter is Depth Extinction. It's not long enough to put of in there. And the game or the studio Twitter is Hoff Studios, just one F. So
Yeah,
Okay.
this is
hopefully you
blowing
guys
up.
can hear me. My voice is
No, you're
shot.
good. Because if they couldn't hear you, they wouldn't be asking the questions.
Yeah, that's true.
Any way to show the project some love on Steam? Because Beta already answered the question. Yes, it is coming to Steam. So
Yeah, it's already greenlit.
and then
You can follow it. We are on Steam though. You can follow the green light. That'll get you updates when we make the game available.
will there be a shield-like class and a melee focus class? Because like
Yeah,
all
good
of the stuff
question.
that we have seen so far, like with the demo and like even on your artwork, has all been like ranged classes.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing like those will be like specifically broken down into like a bullet focus, a plasma focus, and stuff like that. But what about that close quarters guy?
Yeah, it's a good question. We have some plans for some enemies that will be melee focused, and so we'll probably add a melee element to the game. We're not sure exactly what we want to do, but we had at one point like a knife, where you can have like a knife and do like a secondary attack if they're close. I've seen some games kind of throw that in. It felt like I want to actually make it interesting if we put it in. So, XCOM doesn't really have a melee element to the game. Shadowrun has to be a melee character, like the girl with the claws, the claw attacks, but some people can't really do a melee or it's weak, basically useless. So I want to make it something interesting. We've got some concepts for like a samurai character.
Oh, that'd be neat.
Which is kind of interesting, and we want to do like a ninja type element with this, so it's like more of a stealth-based class. We just kind of introduced stealth into the game.
Well, and that's one thing that you'd have to be a little bit careful with, because you wouldn't want to have the majority of your characters being ranged focus, and then all of a sudden you introduce a melee glass cannon like at the last minute. So like you said, you want to have it build and feel natural to
and
the game
balance
itself.
too. I mean, the balance is really the trickiest thing with a game like this. It's partly the reason that we're going ahead and doing a first access so early is because we need like hundreds of people to play the game so we can collect enough data to know how balanced is the game right now. Is it actually working? I mean, we know it's not that balanced at the moment, but we want to actually have something that makes sense in terms of balance.
Any chance of auto sentries or drones?
Yeah, we do have drones. Drones are one of the enemies. I don't think they're showing up on any of the posters, but we do have some drones in the game.
And I imagine the drones that you guys are talking about are like the
You're talking about like character control drones.
Yeah,
I actually had that in the game at one point, but we took it out for right now. We may add it back in where you can have like, I know like Shadowrun had I can't remember the name of the class, but it was a guy who could control drones. I didn't play that class very much. It was, I tried it a little bit. I didn't think it was all that interesting. I'd have to find something interesting about that made it really unique and useful.
Right.
If I find the class thing useful, people aren't going to play with it. And why should I bother building it out? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, if you did something like where you could,
I'd love to hear suggestions. Yeah.
The idea of using the drones is to maybe like open up the map a little bit more.
Yeah, that's true.
But maybe then instead of that being its own unique class, have that as like a skill available to some characters.
Played it on like Iron Man mode. He was saying, and I had this experience too, that sometimes you have to send in a sacrificial lamb to kind of unlock the enemies, to like trigger the enemies, and maybe that would be a good use for a drone. Just send the drone in to get slaughtered, and then you can go and attack.
So apparently we went ahead and talked about the melee class, but didn't talk about shield class.
We have one of the classes we're working on, and it actually was in the demo when we took it out for right now. It's called Defender. So I think maybe that's kind of what you're saying. Like they would have a few different skills that would allow them to add defense to the team or take attacks and tank some attacks.
Right.
And we actually in the original RPG game we had a shield concept also, where you could like bring up a shield, absorb bullets. I don't know. I didn't love that. But
So like a portable form of cover as opposed to just.
Exactly.
I think so. Since you like all of the stuff that I don't know if having a shield class. Again, I think that would probably be almost better as an additional skill.
Yeah, maybe that would be better as like something you unlock later. And only have like one or two characters or something versus having it as equipment. We had it as like an equipment option before, so you can like equip it to anybody.
Right. So another, what I meant by shield class is Spartan and Roman soldiers wear shielding against ranged assault.
Oh, so like carrying your own cover, basically?
Yeah.
So like having a portable cover or something like that? Yeah, we talked about some stuff like that. We were actually talking about it more on the enemy side. So like an enemy that would have like a portable shield that they would just advance and you could only hit them from the sides or the back, or with like a grenades or something like that.
And of course, then it popped up. If you have it, then the enemy has to have it too.
Yeah.
And then question from Spike: did you play any Gallop games, Rebel Star Raiders, Shadow Wars, 3DS, anything of that nature?
No, I never heard of those games, but that's the great thing about coming to conventions and doing stuff like this. You hear about really cool games that you need to go try. So I have a list of games. So one of my plans after we kind of wind down from the con is to take a couple of weeks off and just play games. And that's I always like to do that after like big checkpoints in the game to try to like, refresh yourself, like let go of your game a little bit, get into somebody else's game, see what they did well. But I always play like turn-based games. That's kind of my thing. I love 3, 4, and New Vegas. I like them all for different reasons. Some people love only 1 and 2 and hate the others, or vice versa.
See, I've never played any Fallout game.
Oh, really?
Really. And that has gotten me a world of flack, especially since like, although it's for the reasons of my whole team being the bar, my in-stream currency is caps, like bottle caps.
Oh yeah, so see, you have to play Fallout.
And I've been getting told, why? How do you have that as your currency and haven't ever played Fallout? I don't know, because
I would recommend starting with Fallout. If you were to do it.
The whole reason that I decided on that to be my currency is I was actually collecting caps because I'm making a table that I'm covering with bottle caps.
I like that. Like beer bottle caps or
beer. Let's see. I think Fallout is going from isometric to 3D. But Fallout going from isometric to 3D was the best choice in my opinion. Here's a question. Have you guys seen the gameplay for Hard West?
Yes, I have Hard West. I played it. I like the gameplay. I didn't love kind of the metagame that they had, where it's kind of like a text-based metagame. I didn't really care for that too much. But the gameplay was pretty fun in that game, I thought. I thought the turn-based element. I like that you could pop up the cover, like so you could have like cover that you had to actually activate. I thought that was kind of cool. I'm not sure if we could use something like that, but I liked it. I thought it was original.
I have no idea what that game is.
It's like an old West turn-based tactics game.
Okay.
And its skills are like cards. So you actually play like playing cards. I guess this kind of fits the motif.
Right.
So you unlock these playing cards and you can play one with your skill.
Oh, great. So that's a turn-based with wedge.
That one does actually sound pretty cool.
It's actually a pretty good game. Although I feel like the reviews on Steam were kind of mixed, like a lot. So I didn't play it very long. I played probably like 5 hours. So I might not have gotten to the part that people were complaining about.
That's fair.
Sometimes developers really focus on those first 5 hours and maybe don't focus so much on the end game.
Yeah.
You see a lot of complaints from people that actually played it a little bit further. And I can name a few games that I played like that I got past that initial thing, and I was like, okay, all of a sudden this game started to suck.
Yeah, you hit that pinnacle moment, and then it's like, and it's now a bullshit
And they forgot to balance the late game stages.
Hope all the best for the game industry. Okay, Con Man, thanks for stopping by, man. You have a good day, brother. And we're about to go. We're time to go. So
Thank you very much.
We're going to be moving on to our next interview, and we're going to be carrying all of our stuff with us, and we're not even going to bother stopping the stream. But thank you for taking some time in
Nice to meet
talk
you both.
with us.
Nice to meet all of you internets.
And guys, again, the name of the game is Depth Loving Extinction, and I'm apparently all stuffed up and I can't words today. Great day to do interviews because I can't words today.
You're gonna have a good day. We'll see you guys later.
All right.
And lots of good luck wishes and love for you and your game coming from our guys. So
Oh, yeah.
thanks again, man.
Yeah, thank you. We'll see you guys later.
Yeah, we'll be roaming around quite a bit.
Yeah.
And we gotta. Where was our next one here?